Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mr. Nigel. I'm shortly going to hand over to the head teacher, Mr. Preble, who will begin the presentation. Mr. Preble, over to you whenever you're ready.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mr. Nigel. I think we're bang on 4 o'clock. So thank you very much and welcome everyone for joining us. It's a strange time being able to address people through a screen. We would often be standing in a hall together, having a conversation, discussing about the exciting time and the anxious time of joining a secondary school over the next few months. So my name's Len Preble. I'm head of school. I've been at the school just over a year now, and I want to share with you a little bit about what's been done over the course of the year, but also I want to just assure you of the systems that we have in place in order to ensure that we've got a good, smooth transition for your child, and if you're listening as well, those young people that are joining us in September. So sadly, our usual approach to transition has been affected by the impact of COVID, but we've adopted an induction presentation to ensure that we can cover the most important elements with you in this online version. So the most important thing I feel I need to pass on to you is just the reassurance that everything that we have in place for the learning environment that you are going to be joining from September is a place centred around putting progress first. We provide a high quality, ambitious curriculum, which ensures that students are independent, they're resilient, and they're suitably well equipped for lifelong learning. We achieve this through celebrating personal excellence and also making sure that the young people that we work with and their individual learning journey is celebrating right the way through. As a parent myself of 3 boys, I've got boys in a year 3 boy, I've got a year 8 and a year 10. I understand the challenges that parents will have and the anxieties that sometimes can take place when any transition or any change happens. Each child is unique. They can't be compared. They've got their own vision of life and their own perception of self as the way they see themselves in life and where they want to go. It's essential that our community and our school community recognises our individuals that join us. We've got high expectations of everyone that joins us in our community, and we value the importance of good behaviour, high standards of uniform, excellent attendance, but also respect of everyone, respect of our colleagues, and respect of the staff and anyone that joins us in this journey through the school community. The values that we hold are fundamental. Our values are echo values, and these are the values of engagement, community, character, and ownership. And our school has been on a really enjoyable journey of improvement over the last 18 months since the Swale Academies Trust enjoyed working with the school. The school is an enjoyable place to be, and it's a really enjoyable place to work with young people. I'll indeed look forward to welcoming you to the Homesdale School for the first day when we start in September, whatever that may look like. So next slide, please, Mr. Nigel. So these are exciting times. We have a very, very good school in place. The way that we approach every single challenge is with open eyes. We have a growth mindset and we endorse that with our children as soon as they join us. And as I said, Swale Academies Trust is a very fundamental part of the school's improvement journey. We've got a developed community structure in place and excellent pastoral systems, and more will come through this presentation this evening when I pass on to my colleagues, Mr. Nigel, who's a principal of community, and Miss Bill. We have a very strong curriculum. We've got a broad and balanced curriculum in that in year 7, we do have the offer a variety of different subjects. The way that we approach that in September, again, any challenge that is placed with the way that we would approach coming back to a school, we would ensure that all of those different curriculum opportunities are still there available for those young people. Next slide, please. So we're proud of our school and we're proud of the community that we've developed over the last 18 months. We are the school with the highest performing progress score. Now, what I mean by that is when they join us, we are looking at the value we will add to when they join in year 7, they will have value added through the education. The daily diet that they will get will be of a good quality with good teaching right the way through to the end. And when they end the year 11, we are expecting the majority of our students to join us in year 12 to continue on that journey right the way through to some form of employment or further training. We work with in partnership with the Swale Academies Trust, but that relationship will continue long into the future. And then finally, we celebrate personal excellence with every single opportunity. And as I go back to my fundamental principle here is every child that we work with is unique. We need to find a way of ensuring that we celebrate the excellence that they can achieve. Next slide, please. So to go into more detail, our values are shown here. We have engagement. You know, our children, we want them to engage with school. We want them to engage with life. Community, you know, that respect, you know, they're part of a community in school. We're quite a small school, just over 500 students, but with that becomes the personal touch. And that's very important that we know our students very well. Yes, they're part of the local community, but through the education we give them, they understand that they're part of a bigger picture. And of course, nothing like COVID has brought our world much closer together and be aware of the impact of something so serious. The character, we develop resilience. Things are not easy, but therefore we give them the support and the guidance. We give them structure. We give them something to develop their own resilience. We want them to become independent and they want them to stay safe. They need to know how to stay safe, physically and emotionally and mentally. Ownership is the final value. This underpins a lot of what we do. They have to own themselves. They own their behaviours, understand where they want to go. So not just academic targets, but also achieve the emotional and the targets that they would like to achieve in their own ambitions. Thank you. Next slide, please. So we've changed a lot. In the last 18 months, the school's reputation has changed, not just within the school and our students and staff, but out there in the community. We do a lot of work with the community because of the work we do and the good, the relationships we have with people in the community. The school is changing every single day. The leaders are strong. We have a full staffing quota in September, as we've done throughout the year this year. It's a very settled learning environment. You walk around Monday lesson 1 and it's very different. It's no different Monday period 1 to that which would look at Friday last lesson. So it's very settled, very calm, very productive. And we are continuously striving to improve what we do. One of the areas that we always want to improve in is the quality of our provision. Every day we review, we evaluate, and we make sure what we're doing is for progress. So we put progress first. Thank you. Next slide, please. So our pathway, as you can see, it doesn't just stop at the end of year 11. It progresses right the way through to the end of year 13. And if you think about the various steps that young people make right the way through and they join in year 7, there are so many elements of changing a school that will impact upon their anxieties, but also it changes and shapes them right the way through this pathway. They'll develop confidence. And if you get the opportunity to listen to the interview that I had with Vanessa, one of my current year 7s, please do listen, because she talks about what the year 7 year will look like for her. So the progression right the way through is through to apprenticeships, employment, further education. And we do want the best for our young people to achieve whatever they need to in life, albeit if they want to go to university, then there's of course pathways to allow them to go in any direction. Thank you. Next slide, please. So, and finally, before I pass on to my very experienced team of the principals of the community, this is my opportunity to say the way that we approach the house system and the pastoral care is through parental eyes. We are all parents in the staff in the pastoral system. We understand how young people, how they think, but also how much support they need sometimes. And the way that we design our pastoral system is we flood as much support as possible. So we have our principals of the community, Mrs. Beale and Mr. Niger. We have the student support managers who are part of the team. But within this team, we also have a variety of other people that will feature. We have careers advisors. We have the vice principals, which will support in the pastoral system. But trying to allow the best transition possible is in the hands of these confident, experienced people. And that's the point I will pass on. Mr. Niger, I'll pass over to you to carry on the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Preble. I just wanted to give you some key updates on what we've done so far. It's fantastic to see so many of you attending this meeting. I think we're up to 56 participants now. Like Mr. Preble said, unfortunately, we're not in a position to hold a face-to-face meeting as we would do normally. So I'm going to go through some key messages. I think the important point to remember here is a recording of this presentation will be made available online to you. So don't worry about making notes as you're going. The presentation itself and a video recording of us talking as well will be made available to you online, and with any sort of key pieces of information on there as well. So we just wanted to talk you through all the things that we've done so far. We've had a very busy term. We've been trying to meet with as many sort of schools and teachers to discuss the students, to discuss their needs, to discuss how they best learn. So we have now met the vast majority of the Year 6 teachers throughout all the primary schools. Where we haven't had an opportunity to meet them, they have completed paperwork for each child as well. Mr. Preble has been in contact with all of the primary school head teachers and spoken to them to sort of start contact and get that process going as well. We've operated a new system this year, which I know a lot of you have used, called Admissions Plus. Now, Admissions Plus is an online platform that you would use to complete an application form to the school. Important thing to remember with Admissions Plus, it removes the need for paper and everything is done online. If you are having any problems with that, if you contact us on the transition@homesdale email address, that would be perfect. Our SENCO has also been in contact with the local primary schools as well, gathering various pieces of information to ensure that we have a smooth start for the children with educational needs. Obviously, we've been monitoring our transition email addresses and usually get a reply within a few hours as well. Just today, sorry, I've just got to let a few more people into there we go. We're back. Okay, just today we visited some primary schools and had a chat with a few students. But unfortunately, at the moment, not all primary schools are allowing us onto their sites due to protocols around COVID. So some of the other things that we've got coming up now, we are in the process of producing videos where you can meet the department. We've got this afternoon's meeting as well. And we also have a virtual meet and greet where you're able to book appointments to meet with myself and Mrs. Bill, and those appointments start next week. If you'd like to be part of those meetings, what you can do is you can ring through to the office and make an appointment there. We've also got a virtual tour that's happening at the moment. So what we've done is taken 360-degree photos that allow the students to have a virtual tour of the school, just like they would do on Street View, on Google Street View. They'll be able to click through, go down corridors and different spaces like that. So that's what we've got coming up next. We're also launching a special transition website. So a link will come out to you via your email. So the emails that you've registered to get onto this platform right now, you can use that. We'll be emailing details of the website onto that as well. So our curriculum, like Mr. Preble said, it's a very broad and balanced curriculum. We have 60-minute lessons and we operate on a 1-week timetable. We set students according to ability. So what we do is we get information from the primary schools, and that gives us an idea of where those students need to be grouped in terms of ability. We've got a focus on the sort of core subjects of English, maths and science, with literacy and numeracy built in as part of that as well. So these are some of the subjects that we offer here in Year 7. So they get to experience a wide range of different subjects that they may not necessarily have experience in primary school, or not necessarily by a specialist in primary school. So we've got a wide range of curriculum support and enrichment activities. We have author visits, we have numerous sporting events that we go out and visit as well. Last year we had a group of students that went out to South America and did a Camps International experience where they helped build school buildings. Is a really fantastic opportunity. So students will get to become involved in a range of different events and get to engage with the local community as well as the wider community as well. So we've got a range of different events that the students will be able to access. Obviously, these will be dependent on restrictions around social distancing as of September as well. So we do have a programme in place, but we are waiting further guidance from the government on that as well. So in terms of the classroom code and our expectations, we've got 4 very, very simple rules that we expect the students to follow. And generally all students are quite compliant and they do follow these rules. Where the rules aren't followed, we have systems and procedures in place to sort of monitor and combat against that as well. So first rule is follow instructions first time. Second one is arrive on time and ready to learn. So that's not just arriving to school on time, that's arriving to lessons on time as well. Like I said, we've got consequences and systems put in place for those students that do arrive slightly late. Please bear in mind that those expectations around lateness will relax slightly during the sort of first few weeks as students are finding their way around the site. The third sort of classroom code rule is about respect and mutual respect for staff, for students, for everybody really. And the fourth one is making sure that you're trying your best at all times. Another area I want to talk to you that's really important is attendance. And you can see by the thermometer that I've got here on the presentation what it can equate to. So if you've got 80% attendance, you'll be classed as what we call in the danger zone. And that equates to 2 months off every year. So I'm sure the students will appreciate, and you as parents and carers will appreciate, that 2 months off is going to put your child significantly behind others. So it's very important that we maintain 100% attendance. We've got lots of different systems in place to monitor attendance. We don't authorise holidays in term time unless there's exceptional circumstances, and that can be done through a written letter to Mr. Preble. If your child's current attendance is below expected, you'll receive a call from the attendance team, the pastoral team, and there'll be interventions put in place as a result of that. So this is our new pastoral team. So we've put a lot of work in to ensure that there is a smooth transition for year 6s into year 7, and we've got a team that's sort of wrapped around that's going to be supporting your son or daughter when they do arrive. So you've got myself and Mrs. Bill as community principals, and we've got different areas of responsibility there as well. Then you have associate vice principals, and in my community you have Mr. Naylor and Mr. Amos, and you've got their responsibilities underneath there as well. In Mrs. Bill's communities, you've got Mr. Badham and you've got Ms. Caldine as well. And alongside those, we have student support managers. Generally, these people along the bottom will be the student's first port of call if they've got any issues. That's not to say they can't reach out to us. We will obviously be there for them as well. Alongside that, you've got a really good supportive network of form tutors that are very, very experienced. So in terms of uniform, we are quite strict on uniform. We've got some quite clear guidelines on uniform. I just want to go over those with you so you fully understand them. Now, in terms of the girls' uniform, you can see all the items down there, and the boys are just here as well. The uniform is available from Pages, and there's a discount code that's available as well if you pay online. Now, we've got a very strict ruling around jewellery. Students cannot wear jewellery for health and safety reasons. Smartwatches aren't allowed, and no false nails. If you are thinking about getting your child's ears pierced over the summer, please ensure that you do it prior to them beginning, and it's done right at the beginning so they get a chance to heal and they're not coming into school with any sort of studs or earrings in that sense. Now, the PE kit is right there as well. Again, this is available from Pages Uniform Shop. Right, I'm going to now mute myself and hand over to my colleague, Mrs. Beale.
Thank you. As Ms. Nigel said, I'm Mrs. Bill. I'm one of the community principals here at Holmesdale and also one of the assistant head teachers. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit more about what you can expect when you arrive with us in a few weeks' time. So the school site has 5 different buildings, and each building has different subject areas that you're going to study in. Obviously in September things might look a little bit different to what I'm about to explain now, but that information will come out to you once we have come up with a plan to make sure you are all safe when you come back in September. So Harvey, which is our main building, the first building you can see when you come up, that is where our school hall is. It's where our reception is. It's where you come through when you arrive in the morning. It's also where our canteen is. So it's where you will be having your lunch, where you'll be served your lunch. Our library is upstairs. We've got a really good library. We're very lucky, as one of the secondary schools with one of the biggest libraries. So we are very lucky. We've also got ICT facilities, business studies, and you'll also learn maths in that building. We've got the Gordon building, which is where your PE will take place. We've got a smaller hall and a large sports hall, as well as our fields for you to do your sport. Tyler, which is where our humanities department and our art DT departments are also. Chaucer, which is where science and English and also MFL are taught, so modern foreign languages, French and Spanish. And Beckett is where our SEND department is, so our special educational needs department. That's where they are based, and also our inclusion room. Our inclusion room is exactly that. If things aren't going particularly well in school and you need some time maybe away from your lessons, you will be housed in our inclusion room, where you'll be supported by different members of staff to get you back on track. Next slide, please. As Mr. Nigel said, we do not allow jewellery at all, so the only thing that you will be allowed to wear is a wristwatch. Any other jewellery that you do arrive in, we will confiscate and we will hand back to you at the end of the day. We also have a no mobile phone policy. You are welcome to bring your mobile phone onto the school site, but when you arrive it must be switched off and away, please. We decided to ban mobile phones a few years ago, and it's actually a really nice environment, because it means at lunchtime and break time you're much more likely to sit and have a chat with your friends and your teachers, and it just stops you being absorbed in your mobile phones. So again, we do not allow mobile phones during the school day. They should be packed away. If you are caught with your mobile phone, once again they will be taken away, held in a safe, and we will ask your parents or carers to come collect them at the end of the school day. Next slide, please. You're about to join us for 7 years, which seems like a very long time, but we support you throughout that 7-year journey. So you actually spend most of your education with us at Holmesdale. And at the heart of that is our safeguarding team. So we are extremely proud of our pastoral team here, and we believe that it's our pastoral team that will help you to achieve academically. And at the heart of that is safeguarding. So the people you can see on screen at the moment, Mr. Nigel, myself and Mrs. Andrew, are all safeguarding leads who will make sure that your well-being is looked after throughout your time here. So that's very much our job. So we will also have other safeguarding leads that are part of our teams. So I will have an SSM that's also a safeguarding lead, as will Mr. Nigel, just to make sure that you remain happy and above all safe whilst you are here with us at Holmesdale. Next slide, please. We have extremely high expectations of our students here. We expect you to try your hardest. We expect you to show resilience. And to support you with that, once a week during your personal development time, you'll have a specialist programme that focuses on character curriculum and your character and how to make sure you have the best character you can. And you'll be taught things like leadership, organisation, resilience, initiative and communication. It's really good in supporting you make the transition from primary school and also build your confidence as you go out throughout secondary school. Next slide, please. We also have a school council here. So this is made up of a couple of members of each form group, and they meet once a fortnight and they discuss ways to help improve the school. So you're very much at the heart of what we do here, and we make sure that you are listened to and we put things in place in order to support you. We've also introduced the Holmesdale Futures portfolio, which is something where you can get information and you can build a portfolio to use when you leave us at the end of your 7 years for employability. So in year 7, you'll start this portfolio and you'll collect evidence for different areas that match our values. So against our ECHO values. So you can get all your evidence together and you're rewarded for the evidence that you gather throughout your time here. And then, as I said, when you leave us, you'll have a portfolio that you can use to go on to your next steps. Next slide, please. Communication is really important. We've got different ways in which we communicate with you and your parents. So we have the school reception, which is open from 8 AM to 4:30 each day. So you can phone our receptionist and talk to them about any information you may need. We have our key email addresses on our website, so you can email staff members. Parents can also download our PS Connect app, which will allow them to get texts direct from the school, so we do send out quite a lot of information that way. We also have Show My Homework, which is a site where your teachers will upload homework to for you to do at home, and your parents will also have a login to that as well, so they can monitor it and see what we are setting. We have a Termly magazine. We also have a bulletin at the moment, which I know has been sent to your houses, so I hope you've had fun reading through that. And that is a really nice way for us to celebrate what's going on at Homesdale and our students as well. And we also do publish our calendar for you, so you can see what's coming up. We also have a flow chart here, so you can see who your first port of call is and all the different people that you can talk to. So office staff, yes, you go through them, but you'll also have your form tutor's email address. If you're talking about a subject-specific problem or query, you have class teacher email addresses, and then obviously you have your associate vice principals and us as community principals you can also talk to. Next slide, please. When you start in Year 7, we will have a Year 7 area which is specifically for you. So it's a dedicated calm area where it will only be for Year 7, it won't be for our other students. It will ensure that you have a high level of supervision and just ensure that you are settling in and make sure that you do have time to be with people of your own year group. Next slide, please. So the timings of the day, we have an 8:45 morning bell, and we expect students to be in and ready to learn at 8:50 for the start of period 1. You have 2 1-hour length lessons before break time, which is at 10:50, and then you have a 20 minutes break where our canteen is open and you can purchase a snack or a drink. 11:10 is when period 3 starts, and you've got another 2 hours worth of lessons up until lunch, which is at 1:10. Again, food and drinks are available from our canteen then. Lunch is 35 minutes. At the end of lunch, you go to personal development time. So this will be with your form tutor, and this is where you'll do your PSHE curriculum, you'll do your character curriculum, as I just spoke about. You have an assembly once a week as well. After you've finished personal development, you have 1 more hour of lesson, and then the school day ends at Homesdale at 3:15. Next slide, please. Equipment then. So you'll need to make sure that when you start with us, you have the following: a pen, a pencil, ruler, rubber, calculator, sharpener, and a planner. We provide you with a planner, so you don't need to provide that yourself. You will get a Homesdale planner in which you can write your homework, where parents can write any comments they need to for your tutor and teachers. And we do advise a scientific calculator, so if possible, please do also purchase one of those. Next slide, please. And we have a competition we'd really like you to get involved with as well. So we would like you to produce either a short diary or maybe even a video clip if you're feeling particularly brave of what you've been up to during lockdown. So we'd really like to get to know you a little bit before you arrive here. So putting something together to help us do that, telling us what you've been up to, maybe you've learnt something new, maybe you've started a new activity, how have you kept in touch with friends and family, etc. So please do take part in that. We do have prizes that we will issue when you return in September. And any entries, please send to the transition email address. So that has been live for the last few weeks. That is the email address that myself and Mr. Nigel look after. So if there are any comments or queries that can come through there, and also any of these competition entries can go through there. Also, over to you, Mr. Nigel.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bill. That really concludes our presentation this afternoon. Unfortunately, we won't have time to give you a tour around the school site, but if you look out onto the school website, we will have a virtual tour available on there very shortly. You will have a new website that we'll point you to as well, that give you all of the key information that you've heard today. And I want to thank everybody for attending the meeting. I know there's some people that have posed some questions in the chat as well. What I will attempt to do is once we've ended the presentation formally, is I'll try to reply to those chat messages via email as well. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming today. And if you've got any questions, please email through to the transition email address where we'll be able to answer some of those questions for you. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending.